September 26, 1983. A shrill alarm pierces the silence of a Soviet nuclear early warning bunker. Red lights flash across monitoring screens. 5 nuclear missiles are detected, launching from US soil, heading straight for the Soviet Union. One man has just minutes to decide. Initiate a nuclear counterstrike that could kill millions. Or risk everything on his gut feeling that something isn't right. This is the story of how Lieutenant Colonel Stanislav Petrov saved the world, and why almost no one knew about it for decades. Born in 1939 near Vladivostok, Stanislav Petrov grew up in the shadow of World War II, witnessing firsthand the devastating power of modern warfare. His father, a fighter pilot, instilled in him a deep respect for military service and technical precision. As a bright young student, Petrov excelled in mathematics and engineering, eventually joining the Soviet Air Defense Forces. His analytical mind and calm demeanor caught the attention of his superiors, leading to his assignment at the top-secret Serpukhov 15 bunker near Moscow. The 1980s marked the most dangerous period of the Cold War. President Reagan had labeled the Soviet Union an evil empire, and the Soviets were convinced the US was plotting a first strike. Both superpowers had adopted a launch and warning doctrine. If one side detected an incoming nuclear attack, they would launch their own missiles before being hit. This hair-trigger situation relied increasingly on automated computer systems, as human reaction time was considered too slow. Petrov's role was critical. He served as the duty officer for a new Soviet early warning satellite system called OKO, designed to detect missile launches from US territory. He was chosen for his unique combination of technical expertise and level-headedness, but no one could have predicted that these qualities would soon be tested in the most extreme way imaginable. The early 1980s were a time of unprecedented tension. The Soviet leadership, particularly the aging Yuri Andropov, was paranoid about American intentions. Operation Ryan, the largest Soviet intelligence gathering operation since World War II, was launched to detect signs of an impending US nuclear first strike. The shooting down of Korean Airlines Flight 007 by Soviet forces on September 1, 1983, had pushed tensions to the breaking point. Petrov faced personal challenges too. The immense responsibility of monitoring the early warning system weighed heavily on him. He knew that any mistake could have catastrophic consequences. The technology itself was new and untested in real-world conditions. Despite being a superior officer, he often found himself at odds with military doctrine that emphasized unwavering trust in computer systems. The OKO satellite system, while advanced for its time, was far from perfect. Petrov had noticed minor glitches before, but couldn't convince his superiors to address them. The military brass preferred to believe in the infallibility of their new technology. The computers were made to rule out the human factor, Petrov would later recall, but in this case, the human factor was the most important one. On that fateful night of September 26, 1983, Petrov was manning the night shift at Serpukhov 15 when the unthinkable happened. At 0:15 hours, the warning system's sirens began blaring. The big screen in front of him flashed the word launch. A computer screen showed 5 intercontinental ballistic missiles had been launched from US bases. Protocol was clear. Report the launch detection up the chain of command immediately. Given the Soviet military's hair-trigger posture, this would almost certainly have led to a retaliatory strike. With only 25 minutes from launch to impact, decisions had to be made in minutes. But something didn't feel right to Petrov. His training in computer science made him question the scenario. Why would the US launch only 5 missiles? A first strike would likely involve hundreds of missiles to knock out the Soviet Union's ability to respond. The satellite system was also new, and he knew it had flaws. In those crucial minutes, as alarms blared and his colleagues looked to him for direction, Petrov made his decision. He reported the launch detection as a false alarm, directly violating military procedure. "I had a funny feeling in my gut," he would later say. "I didn't want to make a mistake. I made a decision, and that was it." Tense minutes passed as they waited to see if he was right. If he was wrong, Soviet cities would soon be vaporized without any response being launched. The bunker was silent, except for the continuing alarms. 23 minutes later, when no nuclear explosions occurred, it became clear Petrov had been right. Later investigation revealed the satellite had been fooled by sunlight reflecting off high-altitude clouds. Rather than being celebrated as a hero, Petrov's actions were initially met with suspicion and criticism. His superior officers were furious that he had broken protocol by trusting his instincts over the computer system. He was intensively questioned and forced to write detailed reports justifying his actions. The incident was covered up, classified as top secret. Petrov was neither punished nor rewarded, but was transferred to a less sensitive post and soon took early retirement. The stress of the incident and its aftermath affected his health and personal life. He retreated into obscurity, living in a small flat outside Moscow. For years, the story remained hidden behind the Iron Curtain. Even after the collapse of the Soviet Union, few knew about the man who had potentially prevented nuclear war. While American children practiced duck-and-cover drills, and Soviet citizens built bomb shelters, none knew how close the world had actually come to nuclear war, or who had prevented it. Petrov lived modestly, almost forgotten, until 1998, when General Yuri Vovtensov, the former commander of Soviet missile defense, published his memoirs mentioning the incident. Even then, recognition came primarily from the West, while in Russia, his story remained largely unknown. When asked about being called a hero, Petrov would dismiss it. "I was just doing my job." The significance of Petrov's decision extends far beyond that single night in 1983. His story raises crucial questions about the relationship between human judgment and automated systems, questions that become more relevant with each passing year. In an age of artificial intelligence and autonomous weapons, Petrov's example shows the irreplaceable value of human reasoning and intuition. His legacy lives on in modern military doctrine, where the importance of human oversight in critical systems has been increasingly recognized. The incident helped reshape thinking about automated defense systems and the crucial role of human judgment in preventing accidental war. Petrov passed away in 2017, his death initially unnoticed by the media. Yet his story has become a powerful reminder of how individual conscience can triumph over rigid military protocol, and how one person's decision can literally save the world. In today's era of renewed global tensions and nuclear threats, Petrov's story resonates more than ever. It reminds us that behind every button, switch, and computer screen, human judgment remains our last line of defense against catastrophe. As artificial intelligence and automated systems play an increasingly important role in military operations, we must remember the lesson of Stanislav Petrov. Sometimes the most human decision is to doubt the machines. If you've been moved by this forgotten hero's story, share your thoughts in the comments below. How would you have handled that pressure? Subscribe to our channel for more stories of forgotten heroes who changed history. Because sometimes the most important decisions in history are the ones that prevent events from happening at all.